Today we are going to talk about all 94 books that I read this year. First book I read way back like a year ago was If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. I rated this one a 4 stars and it was good. It had that Bachelor TV show-esque feel to it and it was just something new and exciting and I liked it. Then we went up from that high down to a low and I started Love on Beach Avenue by Jennifer Probst and I actually DNF'd that book. I got like halfway through and it just felt like the same thing repeated and repeated and repeated. So I'm like, we're not going to waste our time on this. Then I read a duology. I read It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I rated It Happened One Summer 4 stars and Hook, Line, and Sinker 3 stars. They were good. It was a cute little summary. I know it's the middle of January and I'm reading summer books, but it was fine. It's good. I enjoyed them. They were both small town, grumpy sunshine tropes. Then I read Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lauren Forsyth, and I honestly don't remember anything about this book. I ended up rating it a 3 stars, so it was good, I guess, but I don't remember anything about it. Then I read Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter, and this one was a 5-star read of the year. It's so good. I love Lynn Painter's writing. It's just so easy to read, and it just flows so nicely. Then I read Keeping the Moon by Sarah Dessett, and I had actually read this like way back when I was in middle school, so this was a reread. I had forgotten what it was about. I ended up rating this one a 3 star. Then I read my first thriller of the year, My Summer Darlings by May Cobb, and this was another summary book in January, so I don't know what was wrong with me back then, but it's fine. I rated this one a 4.5 star. It was good. I liked the twist at the end. Then I read By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling in a way. I rated this one a 3.5 star. Then I read Vanessa Jared's Got a Man, and I, again, don't remember anything really about this book. I ended up rating it a 2.5 star at the time, so don't think it was very good. Don't read it. Then, I don't have it, mother. I read Forever Never by Lucy Score, and this one was another 5-star read for me. It takes place in Mackinac Island, small town setting, grumpy sunshine, friends to enemies to lovers to enemies to lovers, you know, that whole cycle. It's so good. I love it. So I loved this book so much that I let my mom borrow it, and she has lent it out to all of her friends, and so they are all reading it, and hopefully it gets back to me in one piece one of these days. Then I read The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, and this was one of her young adult novels. This one is a Groundhog's Day trope on Valentine's Day, so it was good. It was a good read for February. I ended up rating this one a 3.5 stars. Then I have another book that I DNF'd. It was 500 Miles from You by Jenny Colgan. This one, it just felt really slow again. It was set in the United Kingdom. She used like a bunch of United Kingdom words that were confusing to American English. So 1, it was confusing. 2, it was slow. 3, it wasn't my cup of tea, so I DNF'd it. Then I read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This was another thriller. This one was really good. This was my first Riley Sager book, and it gave me a Riley Sager kick. My only thing about this, I didn't like the ending as much, but I still rated it at 4.5 stars. It was still really good. Then I read Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson, and again, it's one of those books I got from the library, and I really don't remember much about it. I ended up giving it a 2 star at the time, probably not recommendable. Then I read Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum, and that was a young adult novel. I gave it a 3 stars. Then I read In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I know this one gets mixed reviews, but I enjoyed this book. It was small town. I ended up giving this a 4 star, and the next one, they're in a connected standalones. The next one came out like in December, and I really want to read it. Then I read The No Show by Beth O'Leary, and I gave that one a 3.5 stars. That was a romance, and it had like a weird ending to it, and I really enjoyed the ending. Then I started my journey back into fantasy with the ACOTAR series. We have A Court of Thorns and Roses, we have A Court of Mist and Fury, we have A Court of Wings and Ruin, and we have A Court of Frost and Starlight. I rated these 4, 5, 5, and then like 3.5 because this one's just a teeny tiny little novella book. But I enjoyed these. I like them. It got me back into my fantasy kick, and I want to read more Sarah J. Maas. Then I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and this one is a hockey romance. I ended up giving that one a 3.5 star. Then I read The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, and just like any other Lynn Painter book, it was amazing, and I rated it 5 stars, and it's just so good, and read it please. Then I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I rated that one a 4 star. It's small town with doctors. It was good. Then I read, where is it? Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This one was good. I enjoyed this one more than I thought I would actually. I rated this one a 4 star. Next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and this one is actually part of a young adult fantasy trilogy. It's the first one. They're all fairy tale romances, so they're really easy to get through. This one was good. I rated this one a 3.5 stars. Next, we have The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, and that's part of the Off-Campus series, hockey romance. I already gave that one a 3 star. Then we have my favorite book of all time, Love and Other Words. And Isaac is rolling his eyes because he read it and he did not enjoy it, even though he still thinks about it every day. Claims it's a 4 star. I don't believe him. So anyway, I read Love and Other Words. We all know this is like a 6 star read. It's so good. If you haven't read this or read it, this is your sign. Then I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was her new release of the year. Again, 5 star read. So good. I love it. Read it. Then we read Dial A for Aunties. This one was the one with the fun murder. It is a thriller, but it's not like scary thrilling, it's fun thrilling. I gave this one a 4.5 stars. Now we have The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. It's a football romance with a ballerina. Now we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I ended up giving this one a 4 star. It just felt too much like Love and Other Words. The trope, the ending trope was worse in this one, but it was still like enjoyable. I got through it in like a day, I think. So it's a short, easy read, just not my favorite. Then we started a journey, and this is a journey that we took. We started the Shatter Me series. And if you keep watching, you will understand why this was a journey. I told Isaac, he read them, I told him I would read the series this year, and I did. But when I started it, I just wasn't in that fantasy dystopian mood. And so I read Shatter Me, and I read the first novella, Destroy Me, and I rated both of them 3 stars. Then I read The Score, which is the 3rd book in the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and I also gave it a 3 star. Then I went and I read The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, which was a reread for me. I read this a couple of years ago, but I reread this because The True Love Experiment came out, and this is from the side characters in this book's point of view. I rated this one a 4 stars. This one was better. This one was a 4.5 star. It has that reality TV trope in it again. And I realized this year that I like that trope. It's a good trope. We need more of that. The next book I read was Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. This one is a thriller, and I rated this one 3.5 stars. It was just kind of right in the middle there. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. We went to Knock 'Em Out, and we read Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light. These are both in the Knock 'Em Out series. They're both by Lucy Score. I read Things We Never Got Over 5 stars and Things We Hide from the Light 4 stars. This one was good, but it wasn't as good as this one. This one is Knox and Naomi. This one is Nash and Lena. They're all connected in this little small town. I love them. Read them. They're amazing. Next was Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. That was it was like a Hallmarky type thing where, you know, it was just easy to read. It was short, sweet, to the point. I rated that one 4 stars. Then I read 2 Sarah Adams books. I read When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. 4 stars, 4.5 stars. These are both good. They're both part of the same little series, same family trope thing going on here. We started our Harry Potter reread. We read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I'm actually going through and I'm like underlining quotes and things in the books, in my paperback books now, because Isaac is reading them, and you know, he needs to see why they're so good and why they're important. Then we have Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This was a thriller. This was awful. Terrible. Horrible. I guessed Can I say that? I guessed the plot twist within like the first 20 pages. And silly me kept on reading because I'm like, well, I could be wrong. It could be wrong. It could be something different. Nope, I guessed it. It was bad. Don't read it. Next we have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I rated this one a 3 stars. It was kind of, you know, right in the middle there. But I would recommend this. Next, we have the book Proposal by K.J. McKitchie. I got this one from the library too. I don't remember a lot from it. I remember enjoying it. I rated it a 3 stars as well. Then we have If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. This one is a young adult. This one is sad, but you know what happens within the first chapter, so that it's just like the waiting game until it actually happens. I read this one in a day. It was really easy to get through, really easy writing. I rated this one a 4 star, and the sequel to this one is coming out in February, I think, and it's going to break me because it's from his point of view. If you know, you know. Next, I read The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand, and this was actually my first Ellen Hildebrand book, and I will be reading more of hers. I absolutely loved it. And Isaac is the one who originally found this book. He saw a little ad pop up on his Kindle and it said 5-Star Weekend coming out soon, and he's like, all right, sounds good. So he read it first, he enjoyed it, I read it next, I enjoyed it. It was 5-star for both of us. Read the book. Then we go into vacation mode, and we have lots of vacation reads because we were up camping. So I read Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This was her new release of this year. I feel like I enjoyed it more because I read it at the beach and I was in the setting, but it was just kind of as a book. I rated it 3 stars, I think. Next, I read The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This one is a young adult book. This one is good. It's set in the summertime at Martha's Vineyard. It's good. I rated this one a 4.5 stars. I recommend this book. Read this book. Next was Verity. We go from summer to messed up thriller. Verity by Colleen Hoover. This one was good. I rated this a 4 star. It's messed up though. It's twisty, but I enjoyed it. And then we have this book. And I DNF'd this book. I know that's a hot take, but people either love it or people hate it, and I'm the one of the people who hated it. The font was small, the pages were thin, the story didn't progress, it was bad. And I started this book, and I read like 4 books, and then picked it back up, and I'm like, no, it's not for me. So we DNF'd it, and I don't enjoy it. Then we went into our fantasy era and we read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I actually just pulled this up on Kindle Unlimited one day and started reading it, and it was so good. It was a 5 stars, and I'm so excited because the sequel to it just came out like last week, and I'm going to buy it immediately. Then I read Silver Girl by Ellen Hildebrand. This one is one of her older ones, and I rated this one a 3 star. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. Then we finally got our hands on the long-awaited 4th Wing. And I read this one in like 3 days. It's so good. It's fantasy. It's easy to read. It's like you jump right in. It's so good. And then I got the special edition of 4th Wing when Iron Flame came out, and I love it. It's beautiful. It has the sprayed edges. It has the pretty cover. It has extra chapters from Zayden's perspective. I love it. They're so good. I'm reading Iron Flame now. They're so good. Read these. We read What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther. This one is another young adult book. I rated this one a 4 star. We finished another Harry Potter. We read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Finished this one, you know. And then we finished the ACOTAR series. We read A Court of Silver Flames. I did take a break between the first 4 and this one because this one is from a different character's point of view, and it's very, very big and intimidating. But I did enjoy this. I rated this one a 4 star, I think. It wasn't my favorite out of the series, but it was still very enjoyable. Then we continued with our journey through the Shatter Me series, and I read Unravel Me, and then the other little novella Fracture Me that comes after this one. I felt like I read, it was like the same thing going on, the same kind of plot line going on. I rated this one a 3 star, I think. Yes, 3 star. And then the little novella, I did rate it a 2.5 star. It's still not blowing me away like everybody says it will. Then we have Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This one is the 3rd book in the Knock 'Em Out series. It came out in September, and I bought it the day it came out, and I read it the day it came out. This one is Sloane and Lucian's story. We get glimpses of them in the first 2 books, and then we really get into their story in this third book. I enjoyed it. I rated this one a 5-star. It was good. Then we continued with the Shatter Me series, and we read Ignite Me. This one, the ending was good. The first like 3/4 of it were boring. There, I said it. But the last part was good. I rated this one a 3-star. Then, Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson. This one is another young adult book. I read all of her books back when I was in middle school and high school, so I was excited to get her newest release. I rated a 3-star. It was kind of weird. It had like 3 different storylines going on, and they all kind of interconnected at the end, but it was still good. Then I finished up the Off-Campus series, and I read The Legacy, which is like a little novella collection from all 4 of the couples. This did not need to be written. It was not enjoyable. I rated it a 2-star. Then I continued with Harry Potter, and I finished Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the 3rd one. It was good. I like this one. Then I went into my like the thriller era because it was October and it was spooky season and I was ready for, you know, fall vibes. I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. It's a young adult thriller. I really liked it. I rated it 4 stars. It's cool because it all takes place in the span of like 8 hours. So it's like short, sweet, to the point, all that fun stuff. Then I read One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, and this is part of a trilogy. This is the first book in that trilogy, and I rated it a 3.5 stars. And then I read The Cottage on Pumpkin and Vine, and this is like 3 short stories in one book. I think I rated all the short stories between like a 3 and a 3.5 star. It was like Hallmarky vibes, not Christmas Hallmarky, but like fall Hallmarky. Next, I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and this one is another thriller. This is my first Frida McFadden book, and I really enjoyed it. I rated this one a 4 stars. It kind of gives vibes like Verity, but different in a way as well. Next, I read the last K.L. Walther book. It was Maybe Meant to Be. Again, young adult, short, easy to read. It was good. I liked this one too. I rated this one a 4 star as well. The next book I read was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This one was another 5-star read for me. This one comes after Part of Your World, which I read back in like April. But I actually am rereading it right now because I am annotating it for Isaac. That was one of his Christmas presents. Next, I read One of Us is Next and One of Us is Back. Those are the 2nd and 3rd books in the One of Us is Lying little trilogy. I rated both of them a 3-star. They were good. They were average. They were okay. Nothing special, but they were still really good. Then I went back to The Housemaid and I read The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. These two are they're part of the same series, but they are like very similar. They both follow the same main girl. She's just doing 2 different things in each book. That didn't make sense. Go with it. I rated this one a 4-star as well. Then I have another book I DNF'd this year. I had a lot of DNFs apparently. I started the X-Hex by Erin Sterling. This one was partially my fault. I had it on Hoopla and I just kept forgetting I was reading it. And so I never actually finished it. Then I jumped into Christmas and I read The Christmas Bucket List by Chrissy Nicole, and I actually got an advanced reader's copy of this book, and I really enjoyed it. I rated this one at 4 stars. It is out now. It came out around Thanksgiving time, and it's really good. I enjoyed it. Then I read The Only One Left by Relly Sager, another thriller book. Just like The House Across the Lake, I enjoyed this one as well. I rated it a 4.5 star again. Then I jumped back into romance because I was missing romance, and I read The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. This was my first Allie Hazelwood book, and I'm like mad at myself for not reading her books sooner because I've heard they're a mix between like Christina Lauren and Emily Henry, and I love both of them, and I loved this book. I rated this one a 4.5 star. Next, we have another Colleen Hoover book, November 9th. This one I didn't enjoy as much as the other ones I read by her. I rated this one a 3 star. Then I read another Christmas book. I read The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews, and this one was like a little short, I think like just over 200-page book. It had a little mystery in it, so that was kind of cool. I rated that one a 3 star. Then I went back and we jumped back into our Shatter Me era. And this one has a story. I started this one way back in like September when I was reading the other ones, and I stopped like halfway through, in the middle of a chapter, no less. And then I picked it back up on a whim and I said, I'm gonna finish this book. And I opened it back up to the chapter I was on. I kept reading it and I remembered everything that had happened, so that's good. And then I ended up finishing the book like that day, and that put me back into my Shatter Me phase. I rated this one a 3.5 star, and then the novella that came after it was also a 3 star. Then I read The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and this one is like a magical the books are falling. That one is like a magical realism type book. She is living in an apartment and she's like jumping back and forth through time to see this guy. It's hard to explain, but it's really good. If you read it, you'll understand. I rated it a 4 stars. It was good. Then I read Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lucy Score because I saw that she had a Christmas book, The Christmas Fix, but this one comes first, so obviously we have to read the first one first. This one was good. I rated this one a 3.5 star. Then we finished. We did it. We finished the Shatter Me series. We got through it and we finished it, and I am so proud, and Isaac is so proud of me. We read Defy Me. We read Imagine Me, and then there was a little novella, Believe Me, and they were rated 4 stars for Defy Me. Imagine Me was 4.5 stars, and then Believe Me was 3 stars, the little novella. I really don't think it was needed. But the end of the series, especially these 2 books, were my favorite books, and this was like where all the action took place and where all the high stakesness took place, and I enjoyed these 2 more than the other books in the series. But you have to read those to get to these 2, so it's, it's fine. Then I read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. Christmas Lucy, What's Not to Love. I rated this one a 4 star. I enjoyed this one. And then I am actually in the middle of 2 books as we are currently talking. I'm reading Love Light Farms by B.K. Boris, and this one is another Christmas romance. So far it's good. And then I am reading The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. This one is a thriller, and I'm almost done. I have less than 100 pages left, and I'm at the part where the reveal happened, so I'm very excited to get back into this book. Those are the 94 books I read this year in 2023, and looking forward to 2024, I have some goals for myself. I am aiming to read about 100 books again next year, and I expanded my genres a lot this year. I read romance and fantasy and thriller, and I want to keep expanding those and keep on reading good books, and I think I did a good job of also DNFing books that I wasn't enjoying, and so I would like to continue doing that and really find those books that I enjoy, those 5-star reads, 4-star reads, good books. I'm ready to read more good books. And I also have a lot of series that I am looking forward to in 2024, including the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. So I'm very excited to get into that here soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you keep reading because I know I am. Thank you for watching Nessie Reads.